Look at just look here. As the pedal strokes go down, they can encroach on to the barriers.
Janse van Rensburg, just watch. He was hit by the handlebars by Gardini. Gardini came, took Janse van Rensburg's handlebars away from him. And just look at the catapult of the bike, and Stybar just hits down. Very, very difficult there. Poor Servet down. Luckily for Boom, he just missed out there. But Gardini, what was he doing coming away? But then again, Van Rensburg was looking to the left and then moving over to the right.
Okay, we had a crash in the middle and it forced riders out wide, and we said road space was going to be at a premium, and you saw what it did to the bikes. Once you hit those outcropping legs, the bikes got airborne, and that is a terrible, terrible sight. Feet of barriers should be protected, and to my mind it should be a much longer distance out, because if you start to head towards them, it could cause some very nasty injuries, and I believe that's what we've got right now. Yeah,
that was just a reaction. Janse van Rensburg was just looking after, or he brought up Miesgits and just moving to the right hand side, but over the top came Gardini, and Gardini just clipped his bars. Down he comes, and you know, these are the things that happen. You're riding over 40 miles an hour, chaos in a sprint like that.
There we go. I think you might get a better view of it from overhead. Let's have a look, Brian.
Just look at the man easing up for Giant Shimano, and look at the Gardini coming up. Just moves ever so slightly, bumps. It's in fact Apollonio that hit his bars, and down he comes, and the chaos is behind. But at this stage it's still Debussier, Nizzolo and Bohani with Ferrar fighting. Nowhere for Miesgits to go at this moment. He has to be content and just sitting there. The door opens on the left hand side, but this time Bohani goes for it, and Miesgits just finds his way through and takes a good second place there. But Bohani, another good one. Miesgits takes seconds, and it's going to be very close for third. I think it's Nizzolo just takes that one.
Well, the gaps will be nullified courtesy of the crash very, very late on, but we take no pleasure from that. Those feet frightened the life out of me. They weren't responsible for the crash, but potentially responsible for some of the nastiness that went on after it. Naturally, you go either side of a tumble. The legs of those barriers, not nice, and this is a terrible sight. There's dare I say it, that looks like a head injury, and I'm just hoping he is going to be okay. Well, what can you say, Brian? It's a tough sport, this, and we said that we were looking at trouble late on, and we found it.
Yeah, it's a terrible sport, and he just went right over, hit his head, and again, if he's taken in the ambulance, it's over for Stybar.
He's taken a nasty knock, and at least he's conscious, and that is what we will take comfort from. Neck brace is going on as well. He has his arms in that safety position as well. I don't want too much lateral movement across the shoulders. Very good medical support, incidentally, and they'll be getting the best of help right now, which is something that we must be thankful for. Goodness me, it's never pleasant having to deal with something like this, Brian, but it looked a danger early on. We did call it.
Well, we've seen it even in Tour de France when Talansky kind of was looking to the right-hand side and slightly moved to the right. I don't think you can blame Janse van Rensburg there, because the road was going to the left-hand side, so he just looked after Miesgits. He was just looking to his left, and over the top came Apollonio for AG2R. Just touched his, all it needs at that speed, just touched the handlebars, bang, it came down, chaos behind, and this man was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, just hit the people in front of him and really flipped over, and probably you know, obviously went into the barriers on the inside, and his bike just went flying. But again, this is cycling, it's a dangerous